Hey guys, what's up? It's Ecchan here, and today I'm here to do my episode 4 review of Kuzu no Honkai, or otherwise known as Scum's Wish. And I don't know how many times I can keep saying this, and hopefully I can keep saying this each episode, but this was another really good episode. And in this episode, we kind of get a little bit more deeper insight into our characters, and especially some of the characters we didn't know much about. And this episode was more of a Ecchan and Hanabi focused episode. In this episode, we get a deeper look inside of Ecchan Sensei's character, and basically, the best way to put it is that she's a bitch and attention whore. Basically, Ecchan is a character who desires attention, and especially the attention from guys, but not only that, but she also likes to exploit the feelings of girls who like said guy. As we see in the flashback of this episode, Ecchan knew that her friend had a crush on this guy that Ecchan was getting the attention of, and instead of being a good friend and denying that guy's feelings, she decided to exploit those feelings and get the attention of the guy even further, in return making her best friend cry, and Ecchan Sensei getting the feelings of the guy in return. And we come to find out that right after that flashback, going back to the present, with Ecchan being with that guy that we seen in last episode, we come to find out that if that guy doesn't have someone that wants that person, so say like in this episode that guy had a girlfriend and basically he broke up with that girl, presumably to be with Ecchan gets bored because there's no one that wants that guy in return. She basically wants the rival. She wants someone to feel pain that Ecchan is causing in that relationship, and that's a really scummy character in reference to the name of the show, which is Scum's Wish. And now Ecchan Sensei has a new target, which is basically Hanabi and Kanai Sensei, which is Hanabi's big brother, and basically she wants to see Hanabi's face in pain. She wants to see Hanabi feelings get crushed, and we see in this episode that she basically set up a meeting between her and Kanai Sensei, and with Hanabi coming to the music room to see that basically Kanai Sensei confessing to Ecchan. And basically in this episode, Ecchan Sensei keeps saying like, this is your fault, probably referencing to the fact that Hanabi isn't confessing to Kanai Sensei at all, and Hanabi is basically just leaving the option for Ecchan Sensei to take over and to basically exploit those feelings of Kanai Sensei. And it's just so scummy that Ecchan is doing this just to see the devastation of people's faces when they can't get the person that they truly love. And Ecchan is just, he's a bitch, like, let's be honest, she's a bitch, but she's also just a really good developed character at the same time. Now, Ecchan aside, and before we actually get into the part with Hanabi and Ecchan, I want to talk about Kanai Sensei, the person that we really just didn't know much about at all. All we knew is that he was basically a person that grew up with Hanabi and was really close to Hanabi and her family. And basically, Kanai Sensei is actually the most normal in this series so far, and hopefully he doesn't get corrupted. And basically what I mean by that is that Kanai Sensei is a person that you usually see in just regular romance anime, the person that has a love at first sight. Like, he's basically the main protagonist of just a regular romantic anime. And like I said, I just hope that he doesn't get corrupted by all this scum going on all around him. And now after that, we get a little bit more insight on Hanabi's character, which basically she blames herself for not actually confessing her feelings to Kanai Sensei. And we get an introduction to a new character, which isn't really a new character, but basically Hanabi's younger self in her mind, basically saying like, yeah, you guys been together all this time, it should have been easy for you to tell him what you really feel like, instead of just hiding your true feelings from him. Like, you guys aren't just friends, like, you guys grew up together, you guys are more than just friends, so why didn't you tell him? And basically that leads into the next part of basically Hanabi wanting to tell Mugi about what happened, that now Ecchan Sensei and Kanai Sensei are basically going to go out with each other, but instead she didn't want to hurt Mugi's feelings, and she didn't want to rely on him just to make her feel better by making him feel a lot worse. And that's when we get to kind of the most heartbreaking part of this episode, which is her with Ecchan. And now in this episode, we get to see a lot more of Ecchan and basically her true feelings and her true desires, which really, honestly, I had to say that besides Ecchan Sensei, Ecchan might be the worst girl of the show and just a really terrible person, and this could escalate into some very dangerous things later on in the future. What I mean by that is that basically in this episode, Hanabi apologized to Ecchan for not knowing what Ecchan truly feels like, and basically Ecchan starts to take advantage of Hanabi and their friendship. Because basically, Hanabi is a person that doesn't want to hurt her friend, and Ecchan is basically her only girlfriend and maybe her only friend besides Mugi, because we don't really see Hanabi hang out with other people. And once again, Ecchan knows that fact, and she starts to take advantage of Hanabi's feelings and basically get what she wants, what she really desires. And she's basically forcing herself onto Hanabi, either to make Hanabi forcibly love her or to make herself feel good in the process, even though she's really hurting Hanabi's feelings. And Hanabi isn't like trying to say no or deny Ecchan's feelings at all, because she doesn't want to hurt her friend. Like, Ecchan is her only friend, she doesn't want to hurt her, and not only that, but she's also feeling good while doing this in the process. And basically, we get the theme of this episode, which is kind of filling each other's voids. Now, this could get very dangerous later on in the future, because as we see in this episode that Ecchan was stalking Hanabi, and she even admits that to Hanabi, that she's stalking her, and she's also forcing herself onto Hanabi, and this is getting very stalker-ish, and this could be really dangerous in the future if Hanabi ever decides to deny Ecchan's feelings. And then we get the reappearance of Child Hanabi, basically telling Hanabi that, yeah, this is the first time you're taking advantage of someone, and that now you're no longer better than Akane-sensei. And Hanabi accepts this, like, she realizes and accepts this, and basically now Hanabi is going to do whatever she can to make sure that Akane-sensei doesn't hurt Kanae-sensei, and so she can get her feelings out to Kanae-sensei, and basically be the superior over Akane-sensei. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode. Like I said, it was a really good episode. A lot of tragic stuff is happening in this episode, and it could lead to even more tragic things in the future. And like I said, I'm just kind of wondering how Kanae-sensei is going to deal with all this, because he seems to be the relatively normal person in this show as of right now. I also want to know like what Mugi's feelings going to be like if he finds out that Hanabi, I wouldn't say cheated on him, but basically went with a different person to kind of fill that void instead of being with Mugi. Because again, they're not really dating, they're just using each other. You know, Hanabi is starting to develop some feelings for Mugi, even though she's trying to force those feelings. But yeah, it's going to be a rough ride going through these next couple of episodes and just this whole series in general. Also, I did find out that this is going to fully adapt the manga and its ending, even if this might end before the manga, that this is just going to adapt fully, so we will get a full story. But yeah, things aren't looking up for any of the characters. Things are just going down into a spiral of just depression, hatred, and just scum pretty much. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you guys think of Ecchan's character now that we know her true feelings? And not only Ecchan, but Akane-sensei, and kind of Hanabi's resolve to basically make sure that Akane-sensei doesn't get the best of her. So yeah, leave your comments down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want more anime reviews. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next review.